City, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. These are their stories.
Hey guys, welcome to Munch My Benson. Today we are doing a special guest spot and we are joined on the line by Matt Wilson, creator of SVU, the role-playing game.
Hello.
But before we get there, my name's Adam and I'm joined, of course, on the line by Josh. How you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Nice.
I'm hanging in there.
So, Matt, I've had the pleasure of playing this game a couple times now. I guess, do you want to describe it to the listeners that might not have had a chance to check it out? We'll post the link to it in our show notes, of course, but...
Yeah, sure. So for the video game savvy, it's kind of like a Super Nintendo role-playing game, sort of like maybe Chrono Trigger, where you see the characters from above.
Yeah.
You walk around and you talk to people and you do things.
So, I guess, what was the impetus for creating this delightful fucking game?
Oh, man. I mean, what's the impetus for watching 1,000 hours of Special Victims Unit?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Love. It started with, obviously I've been a fan of SVU and watched it for many years with my friends. And during the pandemic, my wife and I had a lot of extra time, and she was not yet familiar with the Law and Order Extended Universe. So I, starting with baby steps, began to get her into it. And before too long, we had a Peacock membership, and I had passed along the SVU habit, and it was raging within our household. And
yeah, it's kind of like a disease. It is.
Yeah. So we're watching a lot of SVU, and I'm a musician. And like I said, in pandemic, I'm not doing shit. And I was kind of like, well, what's the next music project? And I was like, wait a minute. We're watching these wonderful actors say at times hilarious things.
Outrageous things.
Completely outrageous. But with like such cadence, like the way Benson speaks or the way Mariska Hargitay speaks is just so melodic. Or, the actors have a real actory way of delivering these lines. And I was like, man, I should be sampling this dialogue because I bet there's some music to be made out of this.
And I have to say, for the listeners, even if you don't care about video games, if you like SVU for the reasons that Josh and I on Munch My Benson like SVU, if you turn this on and just let the music background play, you are going to be rolling in laughter. It is amazing. And it's like you're sampling from basically all of my favorite episodes, where Ice-T's going, "You are all now my bitches," and stuff like that. I was just dying every time I'd hear a new bit. I love the music.
Great minds think alike, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we know which episodes are good. And after a while, you're like, "Oh, right, the one where the football player is claiming he's not gay. I bet that's got some great lines in it." Right?
It sure does.
And it does, yes.
Yeah, it sure does.
But yeah, so, once I had kind of like, I'd thrown a bunch of clips into Ableton, and I threw them on my sampler, and I'm like playing them and trying to figure out like how to pitch them and make them into songs. The songs begin to emerge, between the dialogue and the mic post synthesizer interludes, which are all, these atmospheric pads, as you know.
Yeah.
And, eventually, I've got these sort of songs, and I'm like, what can I do with these? Who is ever going to listen to these? And so somehow along the way, I was like, wait a minute, if I made a video game and I made these the background music, people would have to listen to them. And I was like, has anyone made an SVU game yet? And I went online and I saw that there's been some like point and click style criminal intent games. But
why would you do that before SVU?
Right?
Which one
Sounds
lends
hard.
itself to a game better?
It's the Goldblum lobby, probably.
Yeah. It's all good. It'd be really weird if it was all Goldblum episodes.
Dude, that's all I've been doing recently because it's about to go off Peacock. So all I've been watching is Goldblum CIs. I saw one with vampires. Fucking amazing. But sorry.
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
It's so good. Yeah, there's like sexy vampires who are draining people's blood.
I mean, sexy
really
and vampire is
kind of go together.
Yeah, it's a little redundant. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my hope for the franchise in general, is that they eventually just sort sort of embrace the surreal and the fantastical and just bring magic into the world. Like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Maybe Velasco will bring it. So you have 3 cases, right, that you can play at the moment.
Exactly.
You can play, and they're all ones that we've happened to cover so far, which is really
and
nice.
all ones that have scored very high on our rankings.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Rightfully
So,
so.
One's you can
The
play
Ken Turner one.
Turner, the Stamos character, and that's a perfect 10.
which is our favorite episode that we've seen so far, I think.
yeah.
Maybe mine too. And listening to your podcast about it, I did not realize the real life love triangle that was unfolding.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that he stole his fucking wife on the episode.
And that all of that, of course, is potentially in character for Uncle Jesse himself.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a definite brain melter, that everything going on with that one. But then also you got the Kevin Arnold one and the Dylan McKay rapist one, which I haven't played the Luke Perry one yet, but I'm sure it'll be fun. The other two.
Well, and Eldon Baylog and David Patrick Kelly. They're both in there.
I did run into him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can shoot Eldon Baylog on the street.
Nice.
I believe you can shoot every non-employee of the NYPD on the street. I tried to make it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Spread the violence around.
No, I've definitely shot probably 8 or 9 perps.
Yeah, there's some really funny dialogue. I got to the point where Cabot and Benson were joking about how police unions basically only exist to make it easier to shoot perps.
When you see the trash on the street. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. I was really laughing a lot. My wife is like looking at me going like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I know. As a staunch leftist who somehow still likes this show, it definitely like very much speaks to that like niche ideological point of view. In a very funny way, almost all the time. Like I'm laughing the entire time I'm playing the game.
Oh, good. I mean, I'm so gratified that you guys feel that way. Hey, because I was kind of making it, and I was like, I'm not sure who this is for.
It's for the Jarmusch SVU fans.
Yeah, right.
Because like when I'm like, holy shit, is this Coffee and Cigarettes? Is this the fucking Bill Murray scene with it's RZA and Ghostface, right?
RZA and Jizza.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Bill Murray knows all their nicknames.
Yeah,
and to your point about the leftist thing, it's a strange time to be a fan of SVU because it's like, on the one hand, I think we all love the show for the melodrama and the meta comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, as you've mentioned on your show, it's total propaganda.
Yeah.
And where does that live on our kind of conscience spectrum and also on our comedy spectrum?
Yeah.
So I figured like, well, okay, like, you know, I'm not going to not have police shootings in this game. Let's just go over the top.
Let's go the other way.
Yeah.
My original idea was kind of like, okay, well, maybe each of the detectives can be kicked off the force.
But we know that doesn't happen.
That never happens.
Yeah.
Except for Monica Jeffries, right?
Right. That was strange. And then Ice-T shows up like 2 hours later. He's like, hey.
There was like 4 hours of overlap.
Oh, was there?
We happened to hit that one. That's the only reason I know. But it's super fucked up. It's basically, oh, well, we had one black cast member, so let's make sure there's not a gap. Yeah.
I mean, those early seasons, like 1 and 2, are like, you know, you're watching a different show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real wild card.
At least by the end of 2, they're starting to like figure out the formula, you know, because that is Neil Baer takes over in season 2, and that's the formula that for, you know, all of
at least the next 10 years.
Yeah, 1.0. But
yeah.
Right. To me, that is SVU. Like, if the show does not follow the structure I expect, where there is a first act non sequitur, and then there is a pivot to some like shocking thing, and then the audience is kind of like sipping their drinks and trying to be like, okay, wait, is this Terry Schiavo? Is this the Unabomber? What ham-fisted way is this going to tie into? Oh, okay.
No, it's Michael Jackson.
Right, yeah.
We just did the Michael Jackson one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you guys did a great job on that, man. You were brutal. Good thing
Adam's
Michael
done
Jackson.
it twice.
I've done it twice, yeah.
Adam did that on These Are Their Stories, too.
Which is totally different than us. Yeah, and I was very confused because I was like, whoa, these guys know what they're doing. They don't just ramble on talking for 3 hours.
Oh, man. The one I'm in the middle of right now, I am fucking 9 minutes into the run edit, and I've already cut 11 minutes of bullshit.
Nice. Well,
so yeah, I've cut more than half of it already.
that's what you got to do. You can ramble if you can edit.
Yeah, somewhat. But it just makes it take a lot longer.
Oh, it's so long.
I mean, that was my thing making this music too. Yeah. I would just sit there and jam and it would go on. And then I eventually had to be like, for my own sanity, this project needs to end.
Yeah.
Here we go. I've got however many characters. I need that many theme songs. What are they? It's this.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to record episode 160 today. So we've done, 300 hours of recording probably, maybe more.
That's probably about right.
About this fucking show. It definitely starts to make you wonder what you've gotten yourself into.
Yeah,
how are you guys okay? I mean,
sometimes I wonder because we'll like dismiss stuff that's like we can't dismiss that. Like that's wrong of us.
Yeah, I mean how flippantly we move past.
We're like 2 kids got raped. Who cares? You know?
Yeah.
Or how flippantly we move past the Melissa Joan Hart being arrested for having an abortion, basically.
Yeah, that was real. Yeah,
I like how you did print a correction on that, so to speak.
Yeah. Man. Just the episode just breaks you, or the show breaks you, and then you like stop thinking about things in a normal way.
It does.
When
and
you
see,
have to think about it as much as we're thinking about it.
You see like a big celeb like Melissa Joan Hart on, and you're like, oh, she's going to do something awesome. And then it turns out she doesn't. Josh and I are just
victimize her for an entire episode, and you're like,
boo,
this is boring.
Yeah. But I mean, in the world of the show, this is, I think,
the show is building our brains this way.
Yeah, exactly. We want Andrew McCarthy like staring at Liv and demanding that she get him coffee or something like that in a really gross way. That's the kind of kink that we're looking for when we watch this show. Mm-hmm. Or we want Liv. What was that? Who was the guy she made lick her boots? Was that?
It was Gil Chesterton from Frasier.
That's right, Gil from Frasier. Also the guy from Total Recall who tries to get him to take the pill to come back to reality. Yeah, nice.
Oh, that's the same guy.
Yeah, pretty sure. But that's what I want.
It's absolutely what I want.
Or how about, I don't know if you guys have done this episode yet, but where Liv buttons her shirt slightly differently to pretend to be a lesbian in order to interrogate the rapist who hates lesbians.
I don't think we've done that one yet.
No, we have not done that episode yet.
That's can't
wait to hit
Griffin.
That. Before we were doing Munchie's Choice back in like around episode 70 or so, someone had reached out on Reddit and had like requested that we do that episode, but that was before we had even thought about doing Munchie's Choice.
Yeah.
Well, you'll get to it.
We're recording the 3rd Munchie's Choice episode today.
Which will be the one where Stucky is exposed.
Oh my God.
For what he really is.
Oh, there's another one where Benson lays it on. You know, she pretends to, I don't want to spoil it.
No, this is that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a BDSM Stabler Benson stan, that gives you a lot of wank material.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She slaps him hard. Double entendre intended.
I know. It's what a way to go out. It's like, oh, yeah, this is your 49th episode or whatever.
53rd.
It was 53rd.
52nd as.
Yeah, they probably figured out after 50 that it got a pay bump, and they were like, we need to.
I had posited that earlier when we were like in a different episode that we recorded that must be why, because also Morales disappears at that point too.
Yeah.
So there must have been like a SAG requirement that if you'd made like 50 plus appearances as a character, you're supposed to like get a bump.
Can you imagine if they'd kept J.K. Simmons that whole time?
As you imply in the game, he must have done something to run afoul of Dick Wolf.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
That's one of my favorite little like asides, because I almost got fired 3 times yesterday as Munch. But fired by Dick Wolf, yeah.
Yeah, it's so tempting to talk back to Dick Wolf, but you can't.
It is. Yeah,
it's his universe.
Yeah. Even though he basically writes the episode and then watches the show print money.
I know. How do we get that gig?
How do we steal SVU from Dick Wolf? That's what we need to do.
I've got some ideas. For how to make SVU better. To be fair, I think this season has been okay. The new one. I know you're not watching it, Matt. And Adam, you're not. Adam's seen 1 episode.
I've seen 1 episode. Yeah, it was pretty good, honestly.
You're watching them as they come in up on the...
I'm the only one watching the new episodes.
Josh watches a lot of television.
So independent of the podcast randomizer, you're watching new SVU.
I've seen every SVU.
Okay.
I figure one of us has to.
Not me, man. Sometimes I'm like, I need a break from SVU. I will watch literally anything else.
It's not that much of a fucking imposition to watch the one other. Like, I don't watch the new Law and Order original series or anything.
Yeah.
And someone needs to be able to contextualize. If we hit a new episode, I have to, like, at least vaguely remember that something might be like a nod to something else. So
I like to approach each one as a blank slate, and let the episode wash over me,
Yes.
Your
Like a
nickname is
cleansing
Tabula
wave.
Rasa.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Two different philosophies on the show. Yeah.
But yeah, man, is there any place we can find other stuff that you do? Because I imagine if you make music that made me laugh this much, I might like to listen to your other music if it's available.
Yeah, it is. So my main music project is called NSAJK.
Okay.
And you can find that on nsajk.bandcamp.com.
Nice.
I also have another recent joke project, which is a Bonnie Raitt ska cover band called Scotty Raitt. ScottyRaitt.bandcamp.com.
What kind of ska? Are you more like first wave Jamaican ska? Or are you more like third wave Cherry Poppin' Daddies-esque full big band?
That's a great question, Adam. This is my thesis of what I think fourth wave should be.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
So it is a very fuzzy sort of psychedelic definition of ska, where I basically, I was back in the day, I was in a third wave ska band, and we loved Real Big Fish.
Nice.
I've seen Real Big Fish.
Save Ferris heads,
Oh, total Save Ferris heads. We were like, how do we get that distortion sound on the Come On Eileen Save Ferris cover? Anyway, so I was kind of like, well, first wave Jamaican stuff is great. Second wave two-tone stuff is great. Third wave stuff is at this point comedic, and fourth wave either does or doesn't exist depending on who you ask. And I was like, what if fourth wave was kind of more like Gang of Four?
I like it.
Nice. I could get behind that.
Yeah.
Do you do Can't Make You Love Me?
I do. Yeah.
Nice.
It started on a road trip one time where we were listening to Bonnie Raitt, and we were like, man, some of Bonnie Raitt's songs are total like rock steady. So then it, it was similar to the SVU project. It got out of control. Mm-hmm. At any given point, I've kind of got like a few dumb ideas of what to do next. I make all my music in my house when I feel like it, when I have free time. And so, my wife was commenting that like, I did not think that Scotty Raitt would actually turn into a real thing. Here we are.
Do you play around? You're in North Carolina, right?
Yeah, I'm in Durham.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you play around the Research Triangle or?
At times. I've not played in a good while, actually. Pandemic, and I've got a little baby at home now.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it changes your lifestyle, as I know.
Do you host a grocery shopping podcast like Adam does?
Well, I'll have you know that when I move to a place where I'll be like driving to get my groceries, it'll probably occupy less of my brain space than it does here, where I'm like, how am I going to get the groceries and the child in and out of the bus, etc.
Right, you've got to plan every move.
You mean you're not going to have to carry groceries and a child and a dog up 4 flights of stairs?
Maybe I'll do it just for fun, just to keep my glutes in shape,
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to become one of these people that just parks places.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, that's the easy way.
Exactly.
Do they have stairs in Albuquerque? I don't think
there are a few. There are some 2-story houses, not very many.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's more than 10 buildings that are taller than the 4-story building I live in right now, but we'll find out.
I mean, only downtown pretty much, from what I remember.
My wife and I are moving to Albuquerque this summer, so it's it's going to be a lifestyle change, but I'm totally looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I love Albuquerque.
Yeah, me too. I love New Mexico. Mm-hmm. I'm excited about moving to a place with sane liquor laws for the first time in my adult life. So I'm really
Texas
psyched.
has pretty sane liquor laws.
But you still have you can't buy beer before noon, and you can't
on Sunday only, isn't it?
Yeah, on Sunday, and you can't go to the gas station and buy whiskey while I'm filling up my car with gasoline, like I will be able to in New Mexico, which I'm excited about.
Right.
North Carolina is the same way. It's horseshit. You got to go.
Oh, ABCs are so fucking dumb.
New York has dumb laws too. It's like, why does like
New York's not as bad as any of the states with the ABCs.
no, it's not as bad as Philadelphia or you know,
Pennsylvania,
moving on
North
down.
Carolina,
Pennsylvania
Virginia.
is dumb.
What South Carolina has ABCs too, right?
Yeah. But New York has one of my favorite things, which is the bodega wine product, which I fell for one time.
yeah. Yeah, the wine that you can get at grocery stores in New York is not a real thing.
It's not real. Yeah.
I don't know, but
Is it Thunderbird or what?
No, it's just there's like 4 bottles of wine that they have, and yeah, it's like wine product, whatever the hell that means. And then you can't get beer at the liquor store, which is like I think I had to make a whole another fucking trip just to get that. So,
but meanwhile, last call is at 4 a.m. It's like not congruent.
Yeah, pick a lane.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Do you have any plans to expand the game at all?
Yes. Well, I was in preparation for this talk today. I was playing the game again, and I was like, well, right off the bat, I can see a few things I need to fix. But
I didn't see much that needed fixing. I was able to walk out of if you go back into the precinct, if you go up the hall and down to the right, like on the top hall, you can actually walk out into the black.
Yeah. It's a secret passage that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I mean, if you could just have like more cocaine.
Yeah.
I don't know if did you snort any coke or butt chug any of the semen samples at him?
No, I didn't know you could butt chug the semen samples.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was very important to me.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of the series as well, when they butt chug the semen samples.
Because totally did that.
I always laugh about that, how they're like, we found semen in his apartment. And I'm like, yeah, it's his apartment. Probably everywhere.
Yeah, like every apartment.
Yeah, probably the prior tenants too. The semen on the front door. There's semen everywhere.
Yeah. It's New York. People jerk off.
But more cocaine, basically every section of the game where you run into someone saying, you can't do this, you need the DLC. That was my way of finishing.
Yeah,
sure.
The scope was just
like the bodega and the
There was this whole idea that there would be the bodega and the cashier is a specific guy, and the kid who is playing video games is another specific guy. And there were a bunch of kind of favorite SVU characters that I planned on working in, but
it's a time suck.
Yeah,
as someone who is engaged in a massive time suck can attest, it's not always easy to get to that.
No,
but yeah, I'd love to hear people's ideas for how maybe I should expand it. If you guys have any input, that'd be way cool. One game mechanic that I always think about is if you remember the Simpsons beat 'em up arcade game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, played it a lot at Chuck E. Cheese.
Exactly. Yeah. And for some reason, the Simpsons are out fighting the henchmen of Mr. Burns, which doesn't really make sense on the show. But
Marge can beat everybody with a vacuum cleaner.
Classic. Yeah. But one cool thing that game had was it was 4 players. You could be Homer, Marge, Bart, and Lisa. And if you stood with your characters together and didn't do anything for a second, they would combine in a different sort of special move. So in the game, I sort of wanted to have that interaction depending on which 2 characters you picked. And the only thing that wound up making it in there was the music changes if you pick my preferred 2 love interests of the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ours also.
Oh
yes. Yeah. You're rational human beings.
Yes. The chemistry is palpable.
I mean, just the lighting and the scenes where they're together. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. I heard that they're like the actresses are holding hands off camera and stuff, like kind of fucking with them.
No, they definitely leaned hard into at the peak.
The magic.
Yeah, at the peak, March and Hargitay definitely would give teases to the fans about it.
Yeah.
How can people reach out to you, Matt?
Yeah, you can contact me through my website, which is www.matthewwilson.website.
Nice. And I noticed that there's leave a tip for the developer link on the SVU roleplay game too. So if anybody's playing it and wants to throw a little something towards
And I'd imagine if a lot of people played it and wanted to throw something at it, it would also make it so Matt was able to justify
the time.
Justify the time to expand the game.
Absolutely.
Yes. The more profitable this enterprise is, the more I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll keep doing it anyway, though.
Sure.
But I did have to take a nice long break. You know, I know you guys are on a pretty
oh God, if I could take a fucking break.
But it got to the point where I was just like, no more SVU. I can't keep thinking about it. I can't even hear anything that sounds like it.
I can just imagine playing around with the samples is enough to drive you insane. Just hearing their voices echoing inside your head over and over and over again.
Jeremy Irons, because I did that dumb thing at the end of was it Mask?
Yeah, it's Mask. The sex, all the times he says sexual.
Yeah, all the times he says sexual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did a deranged fucking mix of that and thought I was going nuts. And that was only like an hour. So.
Yeah, and then you get out of your house and you're like, okay, I need to go, see some human beings, and they're like, hey, Josh, what's up? Is everything okay? You look a little off, and you're like, sexual in your head, just like, I'm fine.
Sexual compulsion. But trust me, the Jeremy Irons stuff. That'd have legs for you if you need it.
Yeah, Dr. Captain Jackson, he's a fun character.
Yeah, Dr. Captain Jackson.
Yeah, all right, I'll add that to the list. Yeah. Also, I would have liked to have gotten some courtroom content in there.
Yeah. That would have to be like a different game mechanic, though, almost, right?
But the episode for that is where CCH Pounder and Cabot are going up against each other, and Novak is Amelia.
Oh, Amelia Chase. Yeah,
Amelia
where
Chase.
she's into autoerotic asphyxiation. It's a really good one.
Which I know is different than erotic asphyxiation.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes the show knows that, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, it's funny when they don't. But yeah, that one's ridicule 3 times.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's one of my all-time favorites. It's Casey Novak, and it's also April O'Neil from some of the Ninja Turtle movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so my pet theory, which I put in the game a little bit, is that New York has a super progressive sex offenders who show legal promise are then put through law school, and they, as community service, they then work as DAs.
I don't think I've played as Novak.
Yeah, I haven't done it either. Yeah.
I mean, if you can beat Cabot, you beat Cabot,
That's what I'm saying. And unfortunately, I think Novak knows that too.
Yeah.
But no, Diane Neal, fucking great. And CCH Pounder, that's the episode where she's like, you'll be a wonderful adversary.
Mm-hmm. And there's the what do you propose at Tumescence exam is like
great line.
Yeah. Although it is, I do think it's not enough people know what tumescence means to.
Well, we used it as a title.
We used it as an episode title, and I felt like it just fell on deaf ears.
Yeah. Well,
it was only funny to 10% of the audience.
Hey, but that 10% is important.
That's the 10% I live for.
Does CCH Pounder ever play a character that's not that defense attorney?
I don't think so.
No, she's always Carol Maddox, I think.
Yeah.
Before we take off, I just want to say thank you for joining us. Again, I had a ton of fun playing this, and I've only played just a little bit. I kind of lucked into beating the cases both times a little faster than I was expecting. And I love the outro scenes, the victory screens are a ton of fun too. You get some good courtroom content wedged in there. But it's just a blast, and the music was making me just die laughing the whole time I was doing it. So I really enjoyed it. So thank you for making this, and thank you for coming on to talk about it. It's awesome.
And definitely, listeners, make sure to tip the developer if you're enjoying the game.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for having me, you guys. It was so wonderful to discover your podcast, and that there are at least 2 other dudes who think similar to I do.
Yeah.
The way I do about the show. And man, it's for you guys. So if you like it, then I'm doing something right.
I agree.
Yeah, I think you're doing something very right. And I think that if you've been if you put up with Josh and me talking about this crap for hours at a time, you're going to love this game. So I would definitely go check it out. Just to get some laughs for a little while. It's awesome. But yeah, guys, I guess until then, just keep on munching, right?
Sexual compulsion. But then I would go off on these drunken sexual binges. Sexual compulsion. But then I would go off on these drunken sexual binges. Sexual binges. Sexual compulsion. Sexual binges. Sexual compulsion. But then I would go off on these drunken sexual binges. For days, weeks. I'd panic. I'd literally feel that I would die if I didn't have sex.
Did you rape your daughter?
Did you rape your daughter back in Falmouth?
Did you rape her?
Did you rape your own daughter? Did you rape your own
I can't remember! Sexual compulsion. But then I would go off on these drunken sexual binges. Sexual binges. I think I did. Sexual compulsion. But then I would go off on these drunken sexual binges. Sexual binges. Oh God, I think I did. Sexual compulsion. Sexual binges. Sexual compulsion. Sexual compulsion. Sexual binges. Sexual binges. Sexual compulsion. Sexual binges. But then I would go off on these drunken sexual binges. Sexual binges. Sexual compulsion. But then I would go off on these drunken sexual binges. Sexual binges. Sexual binges.